I bet a lot of people would call you a crazy conspiracy theorist if you told them that you were opposed to water fluoridation. Everybody knows fluoride is good for your teeth, right? I mean, the American Dental Association says so, so it must be. Well, maybe. But about a decade ago, I read a couple of books that really caused me to begin to think super critically about public health and all of the big three-letter health agencies that supposedly administer it. Mind you, this was well before the severe overreaction to COVID. One of those books was called The Fluoride Deception by Christopher Bryson. The other was Death by Injection by Eustace Mullins. The point of both of these books was that the practice of water fluoridation was never based on any science at all. It began after World War II when the manufacture of aluminum and nuclear weapons-related material kicked into high gear. Most fluoride used in our water supplies is actually a toxic waste created during the manufacture of nuclear fuel, aluminum, and nowadays fertilizer. The companies involved in making these items realized that they had hundreds of thousands of tons of the deadly poison piling up around them and that it was going to cost tons of money to dispose of it properly. To fix this problem, they did what government and big business seems to always do when they have a problem. They brought in a marketing specialist. And in this case, it was a guy named Edward Bernays who developed a way to help them not only get rid of their toxic waste for free, but he was able even to get them paid by selling this toxic junk to cities and municipalities in the name of public health. By the way, this Edward Bernays guy was the son of Sigmund Freud, the famous psychologist. He was also known as the father of propaganda, which we now call marketing, mainly because the Nazis gave propaganda a bad name. Here's a quote from Bernays' book, which is called Propaganda, that will give you a feel for just what kind of person he was. He says, quote, "The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country." It's amazing that he actually came out and said that. Well, you know what they say, if you want to hide something from certain people, put it in a book, right? Anyway, before fluoride, Bernays' other propaganda campaigns were also hugely successful. For example, in the early 1900s, he got women to start smoking cigarettes in large numbers. Before that, it was considered to be unladylike and a taboo for women to smoke. But basically, he staged these huge parades and paid a bunch of flappers, modern, hip-looking women, to go out and smoke cigarettes, and they called them freedom torches. Soon after that, women started smoking en masse because they thought it had something to do with freedom. Bernays is also the reason we eat eggs and bacon for breakfast to this day. As I understand it, prior to his marketing campaign, nobody ate bacon. It was considered to be a waste product. And I guess I'm not too mad at old Eddie Bernays for that bacon thing, because right now I'm trying to do that carnivore low carb thing. So bacon is supposedly good for that. And, guess I can't hold that one against him too bad. Now, I'm going from memory here, but with the fluoride campaign, Bernays basically paid a group of scientists and researchers to come up with a study that showed fluoride worked well to prevent cavities. Then they used that study to get the American Dental Association to back the plan to add fluoride to our water. Needless to say, the propaganda campaign was successful, and the United States began adding this toxic waste called fluoride to our drinking water. Note, the vast majority of countries in the world do not fluoridate their water. Now, you may ask, why am I bringing this up now? Okay, well, just recently, A group called the Fluoride Action Network won a lawsuit against the Food and Drug Administration, proving that water fluoridation was most likely harmful and requiring the FDA to do something about it. What the case basically showed is that the FDA knew fluoride was associated with lowered IQ, neurological problems, even diabetes and other maladies. And not only that, it's not even particularly good for teeth. In fact, when you see people with mottled, stained, discolored teeth, that could be a sign of a condition called dental fluorosis, meaning the person has ingested too much fluoride and their teeth are now starting to get crumbly and flaky. They can actually crumble. So the teeth are really just a surface level indicator of a possible deeper physical harm. The FDA has long known all of this and yet refused to remove this stuff from our water supply. Which brings up the question, why? Why would they fight tooth and nail to avoid taking what appears to be a deadly toxin out of our water? Well, one of the most haunting quotes I've ever read was by an old school technocrat named Bertrand Russell. In his book, The Impact of Science on Society, he details how in a totalitarian society, the people in charge would use diet, injections, and injunctions to control the masses. In other words, the oligarchs will use what we eat, what they inject us with, and the power of the courts to keep us dumbed down and manageable. So when you know about this prediction by Bertrand Russell, the whole fluoride seems much more ominous, does it not? Like maybe the point of fluoride was never about controlling cavities. Maybe it was about controlling people. And now you know why I'm trying to change my eating habits and get into better shape. I simply cannot stand the thought of being made defenseless against people who wish harm to me and mine. And I don't know how you feel about it, but it seems to me like if you're not at least a little bit bothered by this, then maybe their diet, injections, and injunctions are working. All right, y'all. Y'all hear that music, so you know that means it is time to focus, LBK. I'm about to launch right into what's going on this 56th episode of the Focus LBK Show. Of course, I'm your host, Robert Jenkins, and the first thing on my little list here, as far as what's going on, is the Silent Book Club. The Black and Brown Book Club presents Silent Book Club. Join us for an evening of independent reading. BYOB don't stand for bring your own beer, stands for bring your own books. Or read one of ours. They're going to have refreshments, crafts, and mingling. That, of course, is going to be Thursday, October 10th, 6:20 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the East Lubbock Art House. Shout out to Danielle. I'm going to have to swing back through there, man. I haven't been through there in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I've been ripping and running, trying to do everything and nothing at the same time. So I'm going to try to make some of these events over there, man. They be doing a lot of good work. All right. Going down on my list here, we got a thing coming up called Budgeting Tips 101. Budgeting Tips 101. And it's going to be held, Budgeting Tips 101 Finance Workshop. It's going to be held Saturday, October 12th, 2024, 10 a.m. to 12 noon at First Progressive Baptist Church over there on 4202 East 62nd Street in the LBK. They're going to teach you how to create a budget, outline expenses and income. They're going to teach you how to monitor and adjust regularly, prioritize essential spending, plan for contingencies. And if you have any questions, call them at 214-543-2506. That's 214-543-2506. You have to RSVP, so they want you to call and let them know that you want to show. That is, again, the Budgeting Tips 101 Finance Workshop. It's going to be Saturday, October 12th, 2024, 10 a.m. to noon at the First Progressive Baptist Church. Peep the flyer out down below. Coming up, they also have October 5th at 7 p.m., the Llano Estacado Blues, written by Norman A. Burt, directed by Alan Winter. So it looks like it's a jazz concert and show benefiting Family Promise of Lubbock, starring Mallory Flores, Dana DeJingu, and Kenna McEnroe, with music by Joy Harris, the phenomenal bass lady. Yeah. October 5th, 7 p.m. at St. John's United Methodist Church at 1501 University. Tickets are 10 bones, and you can get them at familypromiselubbock.org/events. That's the Llano Estacado Blues, which seems like it's going to be some kind of play and concert if I'm getting this flyer right. Anyway, y'all peep it out. If you like jazz, of course, you know the best jazz comes from the Cap Rock Jazz Festival, but we got a while till Christmas get here, so check these Llano Estacado Blues out. No, I'm sure they good too. I don't want to say the best jazz come from, Cap Rock Jazz Festival. But maybe it does. I don't know. Now, y'all know I like all my concealed carry and Second Amendment stuff. So right now, the ABR Academy, Always Be Ready, that's what that stands for, ABR, I stay ready, has a free class called Off-Body Concealed Carry. And that's going to be going down, I believe, over there at 511. Yep, 511 over in West End. Now, we also... I'm going to see, can I get some more details on that for y'all? I'm opening it up right here. Let's see how, off-body carry, concealed carry options, basically. It's free. It's going to be at 511 in Lubbock, 2910 West Loop 289 over there in West End. It's going to be Thursday, October the 17th, 2024, 6 to 7:15 p.m. That's 6 to 7:15 p.m. Hurry, limited space available. Register today. If y'all click on the flyer down there, it'll take you right to it. Check this out. We got a Breast Cancer Awareness Walk 2024 in Lubbock, Texas on October 19th, 2024, 8:30 a.m. at May Simmons Lake Entry, 2004 Oak Avenue, presented by Gant Man Development, LLC, and Brittany's and Devon's Angels. Single walker is going to be 10 bones. Groups of 5 to 10 are $25. Groups of 10 or more are $50. Name must be listed with registration. That is the Breast Cancer Awareness Walk 2024, October 19th, 2024, 8:30 a.m. over there at the May Simmons Lake Entry, presented by Gantman Development, LLC. Scrolling on down, I think we got a couple more. Yeah, we sure do. The Lubbock Junior Women's Club is going to be presenting a pickleball tournament. It's $75 per team of 2. Prizes for top 3 teams in each bracket. They're going to be 4 brackets: beginners, intermediate, advanced, 13 and under. That's going to be October 12th, 2024 at Burgess Rushing Tennis Center. Join us at this fun event for the entire family. It's going to be vendors, food trucks, and more. New to the game, register for a clinic on July 9th, September 10th, and October 1st. They got a QR code. All you got to do is scan it. You want to play some pickleball and maybe win some moolah, you better get in where you fit in. Also, finally, my last item of the day, the Old McDonald's Petting and Family Fun Farms presenting the Pumpkin Patch. It's going to be Saturdays and Sunday, October 5th through November 3rd, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's going to be a pumpkin patch, petting stations, pony rides, trail rides, playgrounds, tetherball, volleyball, cornhole, all that good stuff. Sound like it's going to be pretty fun. Sound like some good, refreshing family fun. So, peep it out, get in, get out, have a good time. LBK, we do not have an in-studio guest this week. However, we plan to have somebody on next week. And like I said, we're going to keep them coming as often as possible. If you know somebody that you want to be on the show, please suggest a name. You can call us at 806-642-0949. That's 806-642-0949. Or if you be checking out the podcast online at focuslbk.show, you can simply leave a comment or send us an email. Send us a note right there. Man, thank you, LBK, for tuning in this week. Today's show was kind of short and kind of sweet, except for the fluoride part. That really wasn't sweet. Anyway, let me know how y'all feel about that fluoride too, man. Tell me, don't that trip you out? And don't that make you feel weird? That whole diet injections and injunctions thing? It makes me feel strange. I do not like it. But I do like hosting this show for y'all here in the LBK, mixing and mingling out there with y'all. So I'm about to step on out the door, but before I go, I want to say peace and blessings.